I have a question. This time I want to talk to moms and dads. I have a question. What if you said yes, mom, and the dad said, no, not going to happen? And the child is stuck there in the middle. What do you do? Who has the final decision? And the child is wanting to do what mom said he can do, but dad said he does not want that child to participate in this or that. So how does God settle disputes? What is his guidance on that? What is his instructions on that? That's a simple question, and many of you might know. But I do know this, that is a solution that needs a resolution. When a child finds out that he can find a person to give in to him, he's going to try that. Yeah, they try that. But how do we resolve that issue? And I'm going to take you to 1 King, the 6th chapter, and I'm going to be reading from the 7th verse. This is when Solomon was getting ready to build God a house. And Solomon hired the best. If you think that a St. John is a nice dress, or you think that Neiman Marcus is a nice store, or all these stores that I don't know too much about, but you're talking about expensive, then there was no limit to what Solomon was going to do in order to build God a house. That house was built, and it was made with the finest of tools and the finest of materials. But there was a skillful way that Solomon, builders, used to get the job done. Now, and I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to show you how God can use us when it comes down to making decisions between two adults. I said moms and dad, but it could be teacher and teacher. You teach the same child, and a decision needs to be made, and somebody has to have the final word. So how do we bring a resolution to that? What is God's word on that? What is God's promise on that? 1 Kings 6th chapter and the 7th verse says, and the house, when it was in building, was built of stone made ready before it was brought there, so that there was neither hammer nor axe, any tool of iron heard in the house, while it was in building. When I first read that I was confused, and I'm going like, how can anybody build a house and you can't hear the sound of the tools? I asked God that, and he answered. Before they brought in the different parts of the house, there was a place set aside where the hammer and the nail and the axe, all of that was used. But once they brought that part of the house in to erect it, all they had to do was put that thing together. Execute it, just put it together. It was no more discussion. It was no more, do you think it's going to work? Because mind you, these were very skillful people. They made sure that everything that needed to be hammered together was hammered together in the right place. So what am I saying? I remember being in a teacher's meeting, and we were trying to come up with some solutions to execute some mandate given by our principal. So we were all in the library, and everybody was kind of like not having the same mindset. And I think somebody raised their hand and said, "This is out of order. This is out of order. We shouldn't be doing this." And I had just found this word, this scripture right here. I said, this should be happening. We should bring all of our thoughts to the table. Excuse me. We should bring all of our thoughts to the table. Bring your ideas. Let's make some noise to find out what is the best way. And then, once we discuss it and we choose the best practices, once we leave this building or this room, and everybody had their chance to say what their idea was, it was now time to not talk about it anymore, not talk about it anymore, but it's now to go put this thing into action. So there is a time that moms and dad need to have a discussion. There are times that you're not going to agree. But there's a place for it. And no, it is not in front of the children that you are in building with. You have the right. You don't have to go into a place and say, well, I'm not just going to talk. No, talk about it. Discuss it. Argue about it. And it can get intense. But the thing about it, come to a conclusion. And when you walk out of that place, and everybody's heart is clear, and everybody understands this is the way we're going to do it, don't ever bring it up. Because mom and dad came to a solution, and this is our answer to whether or not you can have it. So I think a lot of times we think that there shouldn't be disagreement. Yes, it should, because the word said it. He said they had a place where they hammered and axed and made a lot of noise. But when they put that thing together and brought it out to the temple, it was no noise. It was just put it together. It's just clap this and put that. Nobody still trying to figure out what we're going to do. The argument is over. So the good news is you can have a disagreement while raising that king. Nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that you understand that before you bring the solution to the child, your moms and dads, make that agreement. God is with you. He gave you a place to have discussions, and then he gave you a place to instruct the child. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that nice? That you don't have to walk around feeling like you can't say anything. Yes, you can. God made us like that. So, I could hardly wait to tell you what God has given me in the last 20 years. I'm telling you my secrets. Go on. Have the best child in the neighborhood. Have the best child in the school. Go ahead. It's all right. Let somebody brag on how good you're raising those children. Hey, somebody got to do it. And it might as well be you. Why? Because we're not raising kids. We're raising kings.